Lance here, GenXGuy.com. Welcome to today's show. Today I wanted to talk about income. It's interesting because I've been telling my story, my career guy, gone into entrepreneurship type of thing. My story seems to be coming up a lot lately with people that I'm talking to. And I've kind of had this aha moment recently I wanted to share with you. Hopefully I can explain it properly. I actually posted it on my dougcollins.ca blog site, and I just wanted to kind of bring it over to here and share it with you a little bit. But, you know, I worked in the corporate world for 20 some years, kind of rose up through the corporate ranks, and I actually sat down the other day and I calculated out year by year what my income was and what my total income was in my 20 some years of working career. And it was kind of interesting because it came up to just over $1 million from when I entered the workforce as a full-time employee through to when my job ended a couple of years ago. My total income was just over $1 million. And when I look at I look at the trend, which is in the graph here, and I'll send you a link that you can actually see it. But as you can see here, when started back in the early 90s, it was kind of low, and just every year I was kind of it was in my early 20s and mid 20s and late 20s. I was getting my 1.5%, 2% every once in a year. They had a good year or something. I got 5%, and but it was never really anything too significant. Until almost 10 years later when I got a promotion. Right? So now we're sort of in my early 30s. I got a major promotion, nice significant raise. My income started going up. So the point where I had to change jobs within the company. Again, in my working career in 20-some years, I only worked for 2 companies. So even I'm a rarity in the people that I know. Most of the people that I know have left and gone to other organizations more than 2 or 3 times in the same period. But the interesting thing was, where my aha moment came from, is my income didn't really jump significantly enhanced until 2 events over a 20-year span. The first event was when I changed positions. I moved from sort of mid-level management to more of a senior management role, where I got a nice bump in income, then another nice bump in income, and another nice. So I kept advancing up and growing my income base. The second jump, so then it leveled off for a few years, because now I'm kind of there at that plateau. The second jump didn't happen until I actually left to go to the other company, and then it just took a massive spike, and then interestingly, it started to drop. So even though I had that position, I took on more and more responsibility, my income started shrinking because it was tied to some bonuses and stuff, and the corporation kept pulling it back. But it was interesting. So two major events over a 20-year period. First one was a job promotion. The second one was a job change to another company. But in the end, it ended because the company that recruited me away from my first employer ended up terminating my position through some reorganization and things. My job became redundant here in Canada. So my point really is, 2 significant events really impacted my income. But over that period of time, I made over $1 million, which might sound impressive. However, most of the income, half of the income, was made within the last 5 working years, 5 or 6 working years, was when almost half of that income was made. And even though that was my highest income earning period, those were the years when I was in bankruptcy. I ended up leading into those years. So when I started really getting into the promotion, the management jobs, where my income really shot up, even though my income shot up, my lifestyle shot up. Those are the years we were having kids and things, and we were having debts and getting behind on payments, and so those were the worst financial years that I had. Versus the years when I was making less income, I was at least living within the means of the amount I was earning. So it was kind of interesting because those are the years that I was making, from here to here. I made the majority of my income, but that's when I was in the most financial trouble. And and I guess my aha moment is, that seems to be all of us. That's all of us Gen Xers. The older we get, the longer we work, the more stable we are in our careers. We fall into, in our late 30s and early 40s, into the highest income generating period of our life. But we're also living in that just get by type. A lot of us are living with debt. A lot of us are just, struggling to make our payments. And, you know, again, we go through divorces which set us back, and all these life things happen to us. But, you know, when we really look at it, those are our highest income generating periods, and then all of a sudden, a lot of us in the last few years ended up, boom, we're done. You know, so you're fighting for some sort of compensation package, exit package, you know, severance type program to get you over on the next hump. But what do? Most of us do is we look for another job to keep us going. But what happens in the graph is we end up dropping back down and we start all over again. So it's almost like we've gone back 10 or 15 years and we start over again, because we have this Gen Y group coming in behind us. Like the article said on my last blog post is, you know, they'll take it for less salary. They might have more energy than us, maybe not as much experience, but the companies look at them and they look at us as maybe as two candidates, and they say, well, you know, their expectation for a salary is much higher versus, say, a young Gen Y person will take it for less. So it gets harder for us to get back into that career path again where we were in our highest income generating periods. So what I'm very excited about is the fact that, you know, when that was severed, I moved into full-time entrepreneurship. And then when I do the same chart, let's say it's only 2 years, but when I rechart that over 2 years, it far exceeds anything, even the job I had, it far exceeds it from an income, from a career path. And the most interesting part of it is I'm creating passive income. So this is active income. If I go to work, I get paid. What I'm creating here now is passive income. So as my chart continues to go on, let's say for the next 10 or 20 years, it continues to climb, but I continue to provide less and less involvement, and I still get paid. So that's the value of what entrepreneurship brings when you kind of map that out. For somebody in the early 40s, late 30s, early mid 40s, guys, we still got lots of years left. Now's the time to be considering entrepreneurship. Even if you keep your full-time career, consider entrepreneurship as a plan B. Building a little base here for these years ahead. Think about this long term. Add a little bit of time. Forget about Dancing with the Stars, American Idol, and all these other shows. Invest that time into some sort of a plan B business. Create a base here, because you never know when this is going to happen. But if it doesn't happen and you continue along, you can create an income here. And that can be your base. And if that's a passive income, a true passive income, that's your retirement funds. So that was sort of my aha moment. I know it's kind of brief here, but you know, hopefully you kind of understand this message. And if you don't, please reach out to me. I would more than happy to sit down on a phone call or something and just kind of explain it to you a little bit more detail, and you know, and maybe provide some more video topics on this and kind of break it down a little bit more. But it's an important thing to think about, and I think that it's this passive income concept is something that's just it's not well known. I mean, we were never taught that in school. My kids are in school now. They're not being taught this. The school system today is still teaching, get an education, get a post-secondary education, get a job, and work for the rest of your life. Well, you know what, guys? Doesn't exist today. Many of us are changing jobs, but these careers just don't last forever. That's the way the world turns. So if you can create some sort of a passive income along that path, slow growth, fast growth, however you want to do that, that's available to you. And it's really something that everyone should be considering. So that's my message for today, and hopefully you found that inspiring and something to think about. So I'll provide the link over to my other blog there if you want to go check it out and kind of just read about active and passive incomes and the difference, and you can see my graph and some other information there. So hopefully you found that interesting, and I look forward to seeing you on the next show. Hope you're having a great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.